So this is take 2 now of Mario Swim. First time I made a couple of mistakes, or at least thought I made a couple of mistakes, but worked out that I just deleted the work for no reason. Sometimes that happens. So we're going to create a new project called Mario Swim, and this is going to use the accelerometer. This is going to display the sensor readings, and it's going to use this data to move a character around the canvas. Ignore that setting, it's just because I've got App Inventor open in 2 places at once. So, what we need to do on here, firstly, let's get our accelerometer in. Now it's a sensor, so you find it in sensors. I drag it onto the screen. Just going to rename accelerometer. And I'm also going to put in 2 other things. I'm going to put in a couple of labels. Now these are so we can actually display the X and Y movement of our phone or tablet. We don't want it to say anything on there. Okay, and we need to put in a sensor, another sensor, which is going to be the timer. Now this is going to tell the program how often you want to read the accelerometer settings and display them on the screen. We're actually going to set this to only 10 milliseconds. It's going to be really, really fast. Finally, I'm going to set the screen to being portrait so that it doesn't move around every time we turn, because that would be a pain in the neck. I'm going to set the title to Mario Swim. Obviously, feel free to pause this at any point you want to if there's anything that I've gone too quickly over, so you can double check it's right. Change the background color to cyan. Now it's going to be over water, but I'm going to make my canvas a slightly different color to this. Firstly, we're going to set up the codes that show how these labels display the accelerometer. I'm going to put in this, and it's going to be called display accel. Now this is, let's say, to display the accelerometer settings. It's just a procedure. First label, we're going to set the reading x.x, so the reading of the x axis on the accelerometer, to, I'm going to join this x speed, and we're going to put that onto the accelerometer x accelerate. So it's sensing what the speed of the x accelerometer is and adding it on the end of x speed colon. You see I put a little space at the end of there, so there's a little gap. Now reading y speed y. Now in normal apps and games you wouldn't see this, but it's really useful when you're actually making an app to be able to test and see what the numbers are, to check everything's working, to check your accelerometer is working, and your codes are there. Finally, I need to put my refresh timer in, and this is what will tell it to do this procedure every 10 milliseconds, called display accelerometer. Now would be a very good time for you to test that this works, check that the numbers are changing when you move the screen around, build it with your QR code. You don't have to. If you want to move on to the next bit before testing it, you can do. It's quite a simple code by the end, so it'll be easy to check where you've gone wrong if you've made a mistake. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go back to the design view and put in a canvas and an image sprite. So let's drag my canvas in. Perfect. And I'm going to set this to be a dark blue, and I'm actually going to make it fill parent. You might want to, if you're being careful, set it to a certain size so that you can use the maths in it to check if your Mario is going to go off the screen. I'm not really that bothered by that right now. I'm just going to rename this to canvas, but you may want to. So I can't call it canvas. My canvas should be fine. sorry about that, my canvas. And I also want to put my image sprite on. Now I've already saved a picture of Mario. My downloads, hello Mario. Now he's going to be too big when I put him into the picture section. So I'm going to change his height and width to 60. This part doesn't matter too much, you can put it to whatever size you want, but 60 by 60 gives you a nice size for what you want to do. I'm going to rename him to Mario. That is pretty much all you need to do for him. You can see he's got X and Y coordinates here. This is where he is on the screen, this is the canvas. And to make Mario move, what I need to do is set another procedure. Now the procedure is going to be called, scarily enough, Move Mario. Because it's for moving Mario around the screen. If I click on here and go to set Mario.x. So I'm going to set the x coordinate of Mario in a very similar way to what we did before. 2. Now this is where it's slightly different from the other game. I've added a plus and a divide. Now what we're going to do is we're going to add the accelerometer reading to his x coordinates already there. So if it's obviously, wrong part, if it's obviously a negative, then it's going to get smaller, because plusing a negative makes it smaller. So Mario.x plus accelerometer x. Now the reason I've got this division part in here is because it's going to be too fast if I leave it like this. I'll sort out the numbers for these in a second. So duplicate this, y, y, y. Now I'm going to divide it by 2, which at half the speed it moves around. With x, however, you may have noticed when you were tilting the tablet earlier, if you tilted it right, the numbers went the wrong way, not the way you'd expect. So instead, what you need to do is set this to -2. It's actually going to make the change negative. If you times something by a minus number, it gets negative. Same if you divide by a minus number. So this will make Mario move left, right, up and down, depending on which way you tilt your tablet or phone. Now this has got so many ways, so many features of what you could do. It could be your control mechanism for a game. You could be trying to avoid things. It could be the same as Flappy Bird in the sense that instead of having to tap to make it fly, you could float and try and get through things. There are lots of different ways to do it. You don't have to use the accelerometer to make it move. You can have a button to make it set Mario.x to Mario.x plus a number, and then it'll go up or down depending on the button. So then you've got controls there. So there are lots of different ways that you can control a sprite or an image sprite in App Inventor. Give it a save, give it a build, and have a go at your game.